The Voyage of Philosophy, Dr. An's YouTube Philosophy Classroom, Unit 21, The Spiritual Atomism, Leibniz Monadology. First chapter, Leibniz Monadology as an Idealistic Atomism. The philosophy of Leibniz arose from the reflection over Descartes' philosophy, which proved absolute certainty of mind, that is, thinking I, and separability of the mind from body. And Descartes represented the dualism of two substances, that is, thinking substance and extending substance. Descartes provided a clue to the basic insight for Leibniz's philosophical development. The body is divisible, but the mind can't be divided. The mind is a single unity. There is a great difference between the mind and the body. Every body is by its nature divisible, but the mind can't be divided. When I consider the mind, that is, consider myself purely as a thinking thing, I can't detect any parts within myself. I understand myself to be something single and complete. Descartes. Meditations on First Philosophy, 6 meditations. Basically, Leibniz's contribution consists in that he analyzed and criticized one of Descartes' two substances, that is, matter or body. The matter as extension cannot be substances in the strict sense because the notion of extension or body includes divisibility, infinite divisibility, as Descartes already said. Therefore, matter or body is not simple thing, substance, but a kind of aggregate. According to Leibniz, the so-called atom can't be unity even if its name means not to be divided, because the atom as an external thing is able to be divided endlessly. According to Leibniz, bodies qua material are aggregates, and an aggregate, of course, is not the substance on account of its lack of unity. Cited from the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. As opposed to the matter or body, there exists a simple thing which Leibniz conceptualized as a monad. The source of the concept of the monad. Furthermore, the name and the meaning of a monad originated from Plato's thought, which Aristotle himself transmitted. Plato was said to put his view as follows in his lecture on philosophy. Mind is the monad, the science or knowledge is the dyad, because it goes undeviating from one point to another. Opinion, the number of the plane; sensation, the number of the solid. Aristotle on the soul. Therefore, Leibnizian conception of the monad is to be understood from the classical Greek philosophy of Plato and Aristotle. Leibniz tried to supplement some aspects of Descartes through Greek philosophy. The monad of which we shall here speak is nothing but a simple substance which enters into compounds. By simple is meant without parts. Leibniz, the Monadology. The notion of a monad is similar to that of an atom. These monads are the real atoms of nature and, in a word, the elements of things. Monadology, paragraph 3. Monad has no parts, therefore it cannot be altered by other things. The monads have no windows through which anything could come in or go out. The Monadology, paragraph 7. The statement that the monads have no windows asserts that the monads have no relation with the external substances. It is said to be maintained unity, self-identity, regardless of a material world. However, surprisingly, the windowless monads have their own qualities due to which they are to be distinguished from one another. Every single monad is unique, which is the intrinsic characteristic of the monad theory as a spiritual atomism. The materialistic atomism of the Democritus attributed no difference of the quality to the atoms. All the atoms are said to be of the same kind. The monads are supposed to represent not only human souls but also souls of all living creatures. Animals' souls are called by Leibniz as the bare monads. In this regard, Leibniz objected to the theory of animal machine held by Descartes. Animals are machines unable to think. There are various species of monads, even though the monad as human mind is the most important in the philosophical system of Leibniz. Chapter 2. The attributes of a monad as a perception and a desire. Descartes recognized the essence of a spirit simply as a thinking, that is, ego cogito. However, Leibniz determined the spirit as a perception and a desire. Therefore, monads as the other name of the spirit is said to have a perception and desire, appetition. Leibniz's perception is a very comprehensive notion. It involves thought as well as sensory perception. Leibniz determines the perception as the multiplicity in the unity, which denotes the synthetic unity of the manifold through the pure perception by Kant. The passing condition, which involves and represents multiplicity in the unity, or in a simple substance, is nothing but what is called perception. Monadology, paragraph 14. The assertion that the windowless monads has the function of perception seems to be absurd because the perception means normally perception of the outside world. Furthermore, the conception as the multiplicity in unity involves the serious problem because the notion of the multiplicity is to be applied only to the body as a compound. A simple thing is not subject to change. However, Leibniz supposed the monad as created to change. I assume also as admitted that every created being and consequently the created monad is subjected to change, and further that this change is continuous in each. The Monadology, paragraph 10. The monad is a single thing. It has no parts, therefore it cannot be multiple. Multiple is only the body or the matter. With the multiplicity in the unity, Leibniz had better described unifying function of the mind, which reflects the diversity of outside world. But the monads have no windows. They cannot receive the outside world. In this regard, the system of the monad is not consistent. It has a weak point. The analogy of a mirror. Leibniz tried to exemplify the ideality or spirituality of the monad by means of the multiplicity in the unity in its perception. That is the analogy of a mirror. If we went into a thinking machine as into a mirror and investigate its interior, we could find only parts which work one upon another and never everything by which to explain the perception. Monadology, paragraph 17. Here, Leibniz reaffirms his basic principle that the mind is unity and the body or machine is compound. However fine and intelligent a machine or AI might be, it cannot be a human mind, a spirit. The perception of monad includes unconscious perception as well as conscious perception. Leibniz expands the range of mind from a conscious thought to the unconscious perception. In this matter, the Cartesian view is extremely defective, for it treats as non-existent those perceptions of which we are not consciously aware. This has also led them to believe that mind's esprit alone are monads, and that there are no souls of animals nor other entelechies. Monadology, paragraph 14. Animals and other creatures are said to have souls which have the meaning of a primitive mind, a bare monad. Besides the perceptual element of the monad, the soul, Leibniz attributed the notion of desire to the monad. The activity of the internal principle which produces change or passes from one perception to another may be called appetition. Monadology, paragraph 15. By means of the conception of desire, appetition, Leibniz established a continual activity of human mind or historical aspect of mind. Mind is the continuity of perception. Furthermore, we should examine the above-mentioned phrase, monads have their own qualities. According to Aristotle, sensation is a change of a quality which corresponds to the appetition, desire of Leibniz. By Aristotle, sensation depends on affection from outside. However, Leibnizian perception is internal event. The change of quality occurs only inside the monad. There is no relation between monad and the world. Leibniz attributes the relation between monad and the world to the providence, so-called pre-established harmony. The soul follows its own laws, and the body likewise follows their own laws, and they agree with each other in virtue of the pre-established harmony between all substances, since they are all representation of one and the same universe. Hylomorphism in the Monadology. As overquoted Leibnizian text, the notion of a perception, entelechy, alluded to the philosophy of Aristotle because entelechy means in the philosophy of Aristotle actuality as opposed to potentiality, or entelechy is something that contains or realizes a final cause, especially the vital thought to direct the life of organism, Collins Dictionary. Aristotle said as follows: the soul is the cause or source of the living body. It is A, the source or origin of a movement. It is B, the end. It is C, the essence of the whole living body. Aristotle on the soul. Plants as well as animals was said to have souls. What has a soul in it differs from what has not, in that the former displays life. The soul is the principle of life and the movement. The movement here includes locomotion, generation, decay, nutrition, reproduction, sensation, imagination, memory, calculation, and thought. Namely, the notion of soul is by Aristotle far more comprehensive than usual notion of it. We understand the perception and the thinking, which are generally represented as the function of mind. Briefly, by Aristotle, soul is life and the cause of alteration or motion. Leibniz understands the soul like Aristotle as a form, perfection, entelechy or cause, without soul as a form. Body is only matter as a synthesis of inorganic substances. In order to point out the formative function of soul, Leibniz invokes the metamorphosis of animals, insects, while employing the scientific discovery at that time, that is, preformation of animals. Here admitted not only the organic body, also a soul in the body. Philosophers have been much perplexed about the original forms, entelechy or souls, but nowadays it has become known through careful studies of the plants, insects, and animals, and it is held that not only the organic body was already there before conception, but also a soul in the body, and in short, the animal itself. The above statements follows the hylomorphism of Aristotle. The monad as a soul performed the organic body. The monad is a form or perfection of the matter. However, this argument doesn't accord with the original concept of monadology, which separates unity of mind from diversity of matter. And the former has nothing to do with the latter. The monads have no windows. The mind has no ability to know the body, the outside world. From a standpoint of the monadology, it is not possible for us to rationally recognize the world. By the way, the hylomorphism supposed the form, the soul, to govern the matter, the body. The form is the efficient and the final cause of matter. In contrast, Leibnizian monadology claimed that the strict dualism of the soul and the body, each of which follows its own laws. The soul follows its own law, and the body likewise follows its own laws, and they agree with each other in virtue of the pre-established harmony between all substances, since they are all representation of one and the same universe. In this regard, the monadology falls into trap of the dogmaticism, even if it has many splendid ideas about philosophy, that is, soul, body, perception, and unconscious mind, etc. Thank you very much for your listening, your attention. We will see next time. Bye-bye.